Well, hello, everybody. Today on Free Hypnosis IHF, we have something really serious to talk about. It's called covert hypnosis. And for those of you who do not know what it is, it's when you have no idea that you're being hypnotized. Possibly it could come from the media or political reasons, or for when you're at a real estate office, because there are some times when real estate agents are trained to do exactly that, covert hypnosis. So we're going to learn what it is and how we can prevent it so we can really honor and discern and to know what we know. So the first thing that I would like to introduce is a fabulous person who lives in Mexico, Winifred Morice. So talented, so creative, so effervescent, and you're going to love what she has to say.
Well, hello, everyone. It's always lovely to be here. And this is a very unusual topic. I had to think about it a little bit. And I thought back to being a brand new baby, just being born into the world, completely fresh and new, with no preconceived ideas, nothing to go by, except what is then instilled into this little new being. And that is the belief system of the people raising this baby. And we are all subject to other people's opinions as we grow and as we learn. When we go to school, we learn all sorts of things. And after a while, we have to learn to be able to sift which is really true to us and which is not. And I truly believe we have a little truth meter inside us somewhere that gives us a little inkling when something feels right and you lean into it and it just fills you with a kind of sense of peace, and it feels really good to be in that space. And then there are other times where you feel a little churned up, a little worried because something doesn't seem as if it's on the right track. And we have to, as we wend our way through this world, we are overwhelmed with everybody's opinions, everybody's ideas. And it's a skill to really stay true to our own being and not be affected by everything that bombards us on a day-to-day basis. And I'm sure others will talk about the media, and just there's so much in our world today, almost more than any other time. But when you're really overwhelmed, go back to when you were that little child, fresh and new, and starting with a clean slate, and see if you can put onto your slate only which seems really real and true to you. And I'm sure others will have lots of good ideas to add to this. Thank you.
Oh, but you hit it really home, to be to thine own self be true. That's right.
Yes.
And also,
Yes,
you
exactly.
hit home about being, centered and to be calm enough to be able to question and discern what's real to me. So thank you for
Right.
your wisdom, your wonderful, wonderful wizardry. Thank you, Winifred.
Thanks, Debra. Thank you.
Okay, next we have Johnny Warhank. Johnny Warhank, you can see, everyone see what I'm wearing? Johnny Warhank made this, and I had to have it. So I bought it from him.
Oh, it's
And
beautiful.
it's the wood. What is it called again?
There's two different types of petrified wood.
Petrified wood.
The strip in the middle is opalized petrified wood. It has a small piece of area of opalized wood, and then the top piece is just sterling silver and some copper that I put together. So
it's beautiful.
Yes, that's one of my favorite pieces. The wood, when you're doing it in tarza like that piece, the pieces have to just fall. You can't go out and try. I mean, it just happens. And when it happens, you get a beautiful piece like this. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, it's like love. When it happens, it happens. And
Yeah,
he did
yeah.
not use hypnosis to sell it to me. I fell in love with it. There was no covertness whatsoever.
It's
So
called
thank
self-hypnosis.
that's right. Okay, Johnny, what would you like besides being a fabulous jeweler and gardener and healer
I
and
think
wonderful hypnotist? What do our viewers need to know about covert hypnosis?
I think if you realize that everything is hypnosis, really it is. When you stop and think about it, someone's voice. Some of you remember Dick Sufton. Some of you remember Armand McGill. Armand McGill would not even have to say the word hypnosis and you would be out like a zombie. The man had a magical voice and presence about him. You walk in the room and you felt hypnotized. It was immediately present when he would start talking about any subject. And having spent several days with him studying, that's covert hypnosis. Just his presence would put you into a hypnotic state. Now, what is covert hypnosis? It's nothing more than changing the person's state of mind without even attempting to do it or say, I want to hypnotize you. You just start talking in a particular voice, and pretty soon people are dozing off and falling asleep. That could be covert hypnosis, meaning that you wanted to do it or you were trying to teach them something. But your voice can sometimes do that. So I think covert hypnosis is an interesting thing. And like I said, everything is hypnosis, and we're always in a state of hypnosis, it seems like. Somebody mentioned the word political. Politicians have a knack at doing that sometimes. They bore you to death.
Yeah.
And that's one of the hypnotic techniques, is we just bore the mind to where the mind just shuts off and starts going away. And those are the types of things that happen. Whether we mean it or not, it happens automatically. So I think almost everything can be covert hypnosis. So it's a very interesting subject, and everybody would approach it differently.
That's true. Thank
That's
you.
about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, would anyone like to add? Okay, Grant, what do you want to add?
Oh, I was just going to add that I think that you said Johnny didn't use covert hypnosis on you to buy that. Well, if he did, you really wouldn't have known. But and I was going to say, I think you guys must have used covert hypnosis on me, because when I heard the subject, I thought, I'm not going to talk about that. But suddenly I find myself here, compelled. I was on another call just now and said, I've got to go. It was a great call. I've got to go. I'm live in 5. I said, I'm here. But all jokes aside, covert hypnosis, as Johnny rightly said, it can be used in a variety of many different ways. Now, naturally, it tends to have a bad stigma because it sounds like bad manipulation. You know, you're doing it under the radar. People don't know they're going to get you to buy that car or something like that. Yes, it could be used that way. Absolutely. Just like that knife could be used by a surgeon to save a life or for someone to take a life. It's not the thing, it's the way the thing is used. So above all and everything else, it must be used morally, legally, and ethically. Do I sometimes use it? Absolutely. I use it. I try to use it myself and help my clients to use it on themselves. Sometimes do I do it covertly on them to get the benefit that they need, as long as I've checked out the desired outcomes, moral, legal, and ethical? Yeah, I do. I might say it now, you know, when you do this now, there's an embedded command. Do that now, not next week, not next year. You know, there's a client I have who's kind of, yeah, sounds pretty good. I'll get around to that. You know, yeah, fine. Whenever you like, whenever you want to do it. Now, with me, you'll find that, and all the brain's heard is do that now. All right, it's done for their benefit.
That's right.
You will hear people say, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. If you're anything like me, notice there's an anchor. There's a touch to yourself. If you're anything like me, what have I said? I've said, like me. If I don't know, if you're anything like me, like me. There's an embedded command. That's a part of covert hypnosis that people use. Speakers will use this a lot with a new audience, and they're just sitting there, especially if the audience is leaning back and they're kind of like antsy, or it's just not the right audience. A kind of thing that happened to me because I host a lot of large conferences, and when something goes wrong, I'm the guy who has to jump in, right? And if it's done properly, they've seen me before. They've been primed to see me with little promo videos introducing myself, etc., etc. If they haven't, and it's jumped straight in, they're like, who's that guy? And you're reading the language, you may not immediately have the same rapport with the audience. You have to quickly close that space up. So there's certain techniques you can use. Misdirection of words. Waiters will sometimes say, when they're looking at the menu, hey, let me give you a big tip and show you something. What have they said? Give big tip. And they may use grammatically incorrect things rather than let me give you a big tip. Say, hey, let me give a big tip. They just said, give a big tip.
Yeah.
Now, again, you could use bad phrases, you can use good phrases. But of course, if it's always done, my analogy is this, to always go out, and this is what I think when I wake up in the morning, who am I going to meet today? How can I leave them in better condition than I found them? And if you use a well-chosen embedded command or covert hypnosis phrase to help them, because sometimes some people will have self-sabotage, okay, towards receiving gifts from people. They have a self-sabotage. They don't feel worthy. They've been conditioned to feel not worthy. So if you say, hey, you're really good at that. Oh, my God, you look so good in that dress, blah, blah. They go, no, I don't look terrible, because they've been conditioned to think that. So if you can get under the radar and allow them to understand that they really do look good, they are intelligent, they are worthy, they've got great ideas and their opinions are valid, then that's a good thing you can do for them. And you can undermine that self-sabotage and get in there by using covert hypnosis. So, but remember, the key word is always use it ethically. The list could go on of how you use it. It happens a lot in the world of sales. So, yes, you were talking about Nixon. Oh, you wasn't. You were talking about politicians. I don't let the name slip. Yeah, he was renowned for doing this. Apparently, the School of Diplomacy would be. He would get all his head people around and had these big, long conferences that went on for 16 hours until was just there. And all that was pantomime. That was all pantomime to get to the point when they really gave up. Boom. That's when the embedded commands went from what he needed them to do.
It's pretty amazing, you know, how I believe that there's even very, I guess, consultants who are very professional, and they will train. And I'm not talking about hypnotists, but I'm talking about professionals who will train people in any industry how to use it for their advantage. And that's where it could become very unethical. So I'm really glad that you pointed that out about ethical. That was really important. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. I really appreciate that, as we all do.
Just
Thank
to
you,
note on
Grant.
what you just said, Debra, Spencer Hum,
Yes.
that's what he does. He teaches his clients how to get someone to believe in themselves and say things like Grant was saying. It's amazing, yes.
And but for purposeful, you know, productiveness. And I think, and purposeful with the intention of doing good and to feeling good and to make a better tomorrow. So I'm glad you brought that up about Spencer, because I feel you're absolutely right. And that's a good thing, because everything in life is good and bad, you know, and it's really how, you know, our perception and discernment. Christine, what would you like to say about this?
Thank you. There's a phrase, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. And it's just like, okay. So I've been thinking about this, and it's like, when have I been hypnotized? Oh, okay, I've gone a lot of different places and all that. But just recently, I realized when you're talking here, it's like I was in a group of people, and I know them, they're family, and I came away from it. It was a group birthday party, and I came away from it, and I was totally exhausted, and I'm thinking, what is that? So I'm thinking, sitting here, and I'm thinking, okay, where people are talking to me, and it's like I'm talking back to them, and I'm not using any hypnosis words or anything like that, but a lot of the wording and a lot of the feelings were just like, oh, there's negativity, it's like, oh, this is going on in my life, and and well, what's happened today, and oh, those poor people down in Fort Myers Beach, and it was just like, okay, I can't do this anymore. And then the next couple of days, it's like, okay, I got with a group of people it's a networking group, and they're all kind of like, I got to tell you about my business. I got to tell you about this. And do you know so-and-so and did this and whatever? And I came away from that, and I was tired, but yet it was that different, because it was like, oh, you know what they're doing for those people in Fort Myers Beach? And it was a whole different kind of feeling. And I'm thinking that is the kind of covert, it's like it's there, but we don't define it. We don't say, okay, that's a hypnosis, that's covert hypnosis, but every single day there's things going on in our life that we are affected by it,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
we hypnotize ourselves, and we get that information from other people. Now, years ago, there was a gentleman, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was because it was so long ago. That's past. But there was a hypnosis technique class, whatever it was, that he would teach you how to approach people so that you could get them to get what by or whatever it was, what you wanted them to do. I took a couple of books that he had and whatever, and it was just like the way he was approaching it was just, I'm sorry. I'm sitting with a window open here, and I believe I have got a bear coming up the road.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh
Okay.
dear. Okay. He's
All right.
outside.
You know what? I'll
fine.
ask Brenda to you do what you need to do.
No, he's outside. I'm just going to sit here very quietly, or I will yell. If you hear me yell, anyway. I decided that was not the way that I wanted to go. And so I kind of looked at it, and I go, yeah. But then when we're talking about it, it's like, okay, yeah, we do this all the time. So thank you.
That's true. You know what, at any moment we have to choose which direction we're going to take our belief system. I think it's a good idea to check into our body and see how it feels. If we're feeling like the little quirky on the solar plexus, then maybe that's not a good idea. Sometimes
Right.
for me, I can feel like a density, or my left arm will start to hurt. And that's like an inner warning to me, telling me, wake up here, really think and know what you know, and to feel it. And then obviously we know when we get the goosebumps, and we just feel so light and wonderful when it feels right and it feels good, then we know it's a real soul choice. But Brenda, I love listening to Brenda. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I was thinking about this. We are inundated with covert hypnosis. I mean, even if you go into the grocery store and they are playing this really cool music, and you just want to start to dance because it's about getting you to stay there and linger and, oh, I could use this or what or that. And then you go into the aisles and now you can barely go anywhere without having to be routed through a very long 2 aisles alongside of you. Oh, yes, that I could use this, I could use that. The other ways that covert hypnosis works is that, you know, we can use colors. So like if you wear the blue is trusting, it's soothing, it's calming. Orange makes you more hungry. So in the earlier days with McDonald's, you know, the whole place would be layered with reds and various shades of oranges.
And
So that
Hardee's was orange.
exactly. So
Yeah.
you buy more, you're hungry, you feel hungrier. So, you know, those are many of the ways that covert hypnosis is used for, you know, commercialization and consumerization. But when we are doing the work, so I will do what was called, somebody talked about it earlier, is embedding. So when I work with someone, I'm already lifting them up. I'm already empowering them. I'm already asking them, so how are you doing? You know, you're doing something so well today. So how is that feeling? You know, and then after our session, again, I'll be doing the embedding and just repeating all the wonderful work that they did and putting that into, you know, their session before they leave my office, because that's empowered, because they're still in that, they're still taking that in. And, you know, for our mind shifts constantly. So we're constantly in and out of, you know, the subconscious and the conscious and the subconscious and the conscious. So why don't we use that for our benefit? I mean, we could just think about, okay, how about we do something quick that's covert that supports us? So take a nice deep breath, close your eyes, and just allow yourself to think about a very wonderful experience that you had in your life. It could be a birth of a child. It could be a meeting with a friend. It could be anything. And just allow yourself to take that in and feel it on your cell level. Just imagine your cells just drinking in that wonderful experience. And now think about your favorite color. And every time you think about that favorite color, you will feel this wonderful experience. You will feel uplifted. You will feel happy. You will feel joyful. Every time you think about that color, it allows your body to remember, your mind to remember this beautiful experience that you had that was so uplifting. And take a nice deep breath and open your eyes, feeling fabulous.
Oh, Brenda, that was wonderful. You know, we all needed that, because in our world today, we all have touched on it. We are bombarded with covert hypnosis. I mean, whether we were in school and we had to listen to lecture after lecture after lecture, and our eyes would be going like this. Hopefully, you know, we were able to be hypnotized and receive the learning that needed to be learned. But even in our careers, in our relationships, we're being hypnotized on the TV. And when you were speaking, Brenda, I thought about the subliminal hypnosis, perhaps in the music.
Yes.
Buy this product or whatever it is, or the subliminal messages we see when we're looking, you know, at the TV commercials or in the advertisements. And I mean, it's been used throughout history. I mean, remember the blitzkriegs, you know, during, you know, World War II, and the people were hypnotized. Everybody on the planet is hypnotized for good and for evil. So hopefully that all of us, and including all the viewers, will be able to really recognize and go within, like all of us said, and say, is this real to me? give you one story that happened with me when I first started working in sales, and there was a medical emergency kit, and I might have shared this with somebody. I was selling a ton of them because I really felt it was really important to the dental community who I was serving, and I thought it was vital until I went to a conference, and everybody, all the sales reps, including some of the managers, were talking about how difficult these are to sell and that they're almost impossible. And you know, because I was attending these conferences and lecture after lecture, I was like this. And because I feel I was so tired, I bought into everybody's negativeness. And after when I got back into the field, I couldn't sell anymore. And I thought, oh no, this is terrible. And I realized, you know, what had happened, because I had to own my truth. I had to really know what I knew. And I knew that this was a beautiful product. It served its purpose brilliantly, and it should be sold, and that every single office on the planet should have it. But I had to really, really go deep inside and question what was my belief and what was everybody else's. And we see today with the political arena, you know, we're so divided because everyone is in mass hypnosis. And wouldn't it just be wonderful if people really turned off their TV, turned off all the media, and just really went inside and said, what do I know to be true? To know what I know. And on that note, I'm going to remind everyone, if you want to learn how to be a fabulous hypnotist, no matter what level you're on, Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas is having a wonderful 4-day hypnosis training for all different levels coming up. And I believe it's November 17th to November 20th in Rancho Palos Verdes, California. You will be dehypnotized from covert hypnosis, and you will really learn to tap into your unique gifts and to be able to serve the highest good. So on that note, put your right hand on your left shoulder and your left hand on your right shoulder and give yourself a wonderful hug for being wonderful you. Yes. God bless everybody and have a wonderful week. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you, folks.